Close the doors, walk across the corridor. We got something to show you. Media is our repertoire. Fed up with the same news, no channel to use. Cruise control mentalities. Here we offer you, we gon' show you on your way. The content it never stays, more positive and uplifting. Once a week the scope gifted. This here is fake hydration like.
What is going on, everyone? Welcome to the livest media, tech, and pop culture party in the land. My name is Tachi. Well, first of all, this is MediaScope. Let's go ahead and put that my name up. My name is Tachi, all things media, tech, and pop culture. And this is MediaScope, a show all about media, tech, and pop culture. We're here usually on Fridays at around 8-ish p.m. I have a network and I make sure stuff is okay over there first. And then I come over here and do my show. So this is all good. Now, I don't know why it looks like I have a bad connection. Something is not right. So something is up. So let me know if you cannot see me or if it seems to be dragging or something, because it looks strange. I don't know what's going on. Let's see. Do we have, hey, Durham Skyrider is here. She says, hello. Hey, how are you? And also G, we just finished her show over on Indie Soup. How are you, G? Welcome in. There's a slight lag. Yeah, and it should hopefully catch up soon. I don't know what's happening, but I'm seeing, and let me tell you all, we had a power outage today because I'm on an 1867 grid. Anytime it rains or there was like a thunderstorm today and it knocked out my power. And so I was on live earlier with the Biz Chicks and there was a little issue there. It kicked me off because I had no power. So now it looks like I don't have a lot of, I don't know, but there's a slight lag. So Ask Mark Ward is here. It says it looks fine from your end, a tiny lag. Fantastic. Well, I can't stand the lag. I can't stand the, what is it called? Latency. That bothers me, but hopefully this will catch up as we're going on. And so you have to excuse my likes too. Listen, I'm going to be real and transparent with you. Today has been a day where technology has not wanted to work, from the simplest thing to the most, the most intense thing. Is it intense? Intensive. That's it. Kimmy is here. What's up? How are you, Kimmy? And Mark says tonight's episode is dubbed. Yes, pretend that I'm not speaking English. That way you'll feel better about the slight lag. And you have to excuse me. So let me tell you what happened. So you're going to notice, like, if I look up, you're going to see the light, and this is why. 2 of my lights broke. So I can safely say that particular brand of Neewer with the barn doors, I can no longer recommend. I haven't had them that long. Those things are supposed to last forever. But what I discovered is, while the overwhelming majority of it is metal, the thing that holds the handles at the side apparently is plastic. So I went to take them and it was like, it just crumbled in my hands like burnt candy. Not that that's a good analogy, but that's the only thing I can think of right now. So consequently, I have my light above here on top of my camera so that you can see me. And I do have one other light, but it's just the one because the other 2 have crumpled and everything else I'm using in the back. So now I guess I have to buy some more lights. But so be careful when you're buying LED panel lights. Make sure that it is not held by plastic on the sides. Even if the most of it is metal, after a while, especially if you live in a place, excuse me, that has high humidity, it will break. So give me a second to sip. I've been talking all day. So that's what's happening there. I didn't give you a hug, so you don't need to hear my issues. This is the hug to let you know I appreciate you being here. You could be anywhere else. It's Friday night, guys, and we're going to have a great time this Friday night. Let me know where you're watching from, what you're doing, what you're noshing on. Are you eating anything interesting? I would love to know because I do need some dinner ideas. So let me know. Ring light? How dare you? I'm going to explain the problem with the ring light in just a moment. And Kimmy likes the lipstick. Thank you. Thank you. If you back channel me or inbox me, I'll tell you what it is. It's very simple. So it is one of my favorite colors. So let me know. Hannah Boyd Miller is here and says hello. Hello, Hannah Boyd Miller. So again, if there is a little bit of a lag, I apologize. For some reason, there's a connection issue, and I think it stems from the outage that we had earlier, the power outage. So, but luckily, I'm able to get on with you all. Hey, and Thrift Champs podcast. Hey, happy Friday. How are you? And you know, I love the name Thrift Champs because I am a champion thrifter myself. Thank you for being here. And let's see. Food Plane is here. What's up, Food Plane? You got the hug. You felt that. And here, who's here? Fred. Fred says no, 60-watt light with the mini softbox and move to the side. Fred, my friend, let me tell you, I don't feel like setting up soft boxes every week. So I needed something that is quick and that's in the area. The LED panel lights work well. However, the ones I got, I did not realize, as I said, had plastic at the sides. And so eventually they broke. Now I've had them for a number of years, but those things are supposed to last forever because remember, the LED lights themselves last for at minimum 10 years and probably longer. That's 10 years if you're running it all the time, right? And these I run every week, but not like for hours and hours on end. So these should last like 20 years. So the light is still good inside, but now I have to figure out a way to put see, I have a bone to pick with you, Newer. Anyway. So, but I do have another light that I got. So I may not need one, but this one is a really intense light. It may be too much. This is really made for when I go out on shoots. We'll see. So I just need to buy another pair of, why am I boring you with this? You may not be bored, but this is a cautionary tale. Okay. I'm telling you, as somebody who does this all the time, be aware of the light. So that's why you see the light on top and I only have one light at the side. So that's what it is tonight, unfortunately. And we have a lag. How good for me. Let's see what else. And Bryson Leach is here. He says, what's up? What's up? Bryson, welcome in. The mini, you will send it. Okay, send it to me and let me know. Easy to set up, pop and snap. You have one. Okay, because listen, I'm not trying to do this with intensive light setup all the time because I had at one point, guys, I had even entertained having lights put in here so that I didn't have to take them up and down all the time and I could just switch them on. But then I'm like, do I want a studio or do I want a living room? I don't want to see studio lights all the time. So that's what I was like. Yeah, if I had a dedicated studio space, I would do that. Not in my living room. Although it could be kind of cool, but no, we're not doing that. Not this year. Let's see, or just move to the side. So here's what. No, I can't move it to the side. I understand 3-point lighting, Fred, but I can't move it to the side because I don't know where the stand is for this. So it has to be on top of my camera. That's why. So believe me, I understand. I cannot do that tonight, and because I was rushing to get here because MediaScope Indie Soup went off and then I'm trying to get everything together. I'm like, I don't have time to look for this stand. It's just going to have to go on the hot shoe on top of the camera. So the fact that I'm here at all is miraculous. Okay. So here we go. And let's see. We're not bored, but I get it. Yeah, I'm not going to bore you with this anymore. Here we go. And life be life against it. Listen, life has been lifing for the past 2 weeks. Not anything bad, just busy. And so somebody, did you see that? You see what I'm talking about? What is going on? The glitch. It just glitched. Anyway, so somebody asked about a ring light, and let me tell you about that. No, my answer is no. No, do not get a ring light, and this is why. I'm just going to ask you, have you ever walked into a news station and seen ring lights in their studios? No, that's because they don't use them. Ring lights were intended to illuminate things. It was makeup artists use them, right? So it's good for if you're doing makeup, it's good for illuminating things where there's not going to be a reflection and you can just illuminate, do a photo shoot and you're illuminating things. But for the most part, for people, we have too many reflective surfaces on our faces, like glasses, like irises, like if you have shiny skin, greasy skin like I do, things you're going to see the ring all over. And what it does, it distracts your audience from the message and they start paying attention to, gee, your skin is greasy. Look at that ring. They start paying attention to things like that, right? So that's the problem with the ring light. So I would never recommend a ring light. It's not professional. Let me tell you, ring light really is just buzzwords. So everybody at one point, oh yeah, I have a ring light. I have a ring light. Yeah, I've got all the stuff. I got a ring light. But who told you to do this? See, what people do is they go and buy things without asking people and they think they have it made. And then when I come around or somebody like Fred comes around and tells them, no, this is not going to work, then you feel all sad, and sad jazz music plays because you thought you knew. So this is one thing I love people playing with all the crayons in the crayon box, but this is one place where I'm like, stay in your lane. If you don't know, ask somebody, right? Ask somebody who knows, because then you end up wasting money. And some of these ring lights are like over $100 and you could have actually used that money for decent lighting. So that's my soapbox moment for tonight. Let's see. Thank you. And Fred also says, and the rings and the lights are distracting. They absolutely are. It's very distracting. I'd rather see a square like this is a square, right? And I'm not going to look at it, but it's not as bad as seeing the ring. That is super distracting. I'm trying to tell them. And G is a photographer. She understands. She's not a fan of that. There's a glitch somewhere. It's really strange today. And again, I think it's from my power going off earlier. Yes, the rings in the eyes, whether you wear glasses or you have irises. Now, truth be told, these are just cute glasses. They're not prescription or anything. I just like them. So you see me wearing glasses all the time just because I like them. They're not prescription. I don't have to wear them, but it is what it is. All right. So we're going to get to it. Let me know. Let me see if anybody let me know what's up with them. What are we eating tonight? Anybody put anything? Hopefully the MediaScope food truck will be here tonight and you could grab something to eat from there. If not, it's okay. We'll we'll work it out. Let's see. And I think I got everybody. Okay. So this is what we're going to do. We've got a bunch of news stories to talk about. Let's get started with them now. And we will do that right after. Where's the this? Okay, right after this. Welcome back, everyone. All right. So let's see. We have a comment. Oh, Food Plane made a peanut butter and chocolate mousse. That must be delicious. That sounds great. Peanut butter. And I was just thinking about this today. Peanut butter is one of my favorite flavors. I really do enjoy peanut butter. So much so that one time I tried to make, this is again, you can't listen to everybody on social media. So somebody tried to make like a vegan, it was like a peanut butter chocolate mousse type thing. Not quite a mousse, but it was something more solid than a mousse. So, but they were doing it with tofu. I said, oh, well, let me try it. Knowing I have a soy allergy. And a soy allergy like soy sauce, I'm okay with, but liquid soy milk makes my throat itch. Tofu, more recently, makes my throat itch. Why would I make a whole dessert with tofu? Somehow I thought the peanut butter and the chocolate were going to cover up the the effects, the allergistic effects. Not quite. That was a waste of silken tofu. Anyway, tofu, sir, tofu. Yes, it was. It seemed like it could be. I said, why not? I will try it. and it wasn't terrible. It was not like it tasted terrible because tofu, doesn't really have a taste. It was the fact that it made my throat itch. I had to throw the whole thing away. I'm so, and even till today, I'm annoyed with myself over that. So anyway, and Mark says I had some peanut butter candy crunch ice cream. Was that your dinner? If so, good for you. You're an adult. You can eat what you like. And Hannah had oatmeal. Okay, I see. We're just grabbing whatever at hand. I'm for it. I hear you. Yeah, oi indeed. Oi indeed. All right, you know what we're going to do? We are going to make this work. Let's go to the first photo and we'll talk. Can we? You know what? No, we can't because you have to hold on a moment. I told you today has really been what's the name day. These things that I put in there did not upload. So you're going to have to wait for just a moment as I do this. It's hard for me to walk and chew gum. So let's wait as this is uploading. I did this earlier and it did not upload, but we're doing that now. So in just a moment, we should upload. But let me start talking about this first. Who here watches British television or has ever watched British television? Put it in the chat. I love British television, British comedies, Britcoms, if you will, Britwit, if you will. And one of my favorites was Keeping Up Appearances with Patricia Routledge, who played Hyacinth Bouquet. Okay. So unfortunately, she passed away. I was so sad because I really did. She was an amazing actress. And I really did. Okay. I think here we go. Her photo is right there. If you don't know who she is now, you'll know her picture. She was best known for playing Hyacinth Bouquet, and she passed away this week, and she was 96 years old. They say we are deeply saddened to confirm the passing of Dame Patricia Routledge, who died peacefully in her sleep this morning, surrounded by love. And even at 96 years old, her passion for her work and connecting with live audiences was still huge, right? And they say she will be dearly missed. She really, really will. Ah, so sad, so sad. And last week, of course, you remember we lost Dr. Dr. Jane Goodall. We lost Dr. Jane Goodall. And yeah, so unfortunate, unfortunate, unfortunate. Okay, so let's take some comments and see what folks are saying here. Okay, so Food Play, yes, watch Benny Hill back in the day, Mr. Bean, and many more. So did I. In fact, probably when we were little, should we have been watching Benny Hill? No, but we did because our mother was watching Benny Hill. For those of you who don't remember, my mother lived in England before she moved to this country. So we watched a lot of British television, which is why I'm so familiar with it now. And G loved Keeping Up Appearances. Yes, yes, yes. And also, yes, the Bouquet residence, the lady of the house speaking. And it's bucket. It was spelled bucket. But you can't tell her that. It's Bouquet. Yeah, she lived to 96, which was quite a nice long life. And oh, yes, Chef. Now, let me tell you, Chef was an amazing show, and I loved the theme song because it was sung by Omar, who is a British out artist. He sings a lot of house music, etc. He's amazing. So, and in fact, he has a new song out together with Donio, him and another artist have a new song out. If you have not heard it, it's called Nights Like This. If you are into that kind of music, you love BBC animal shows. Okay. Yeah. Omar sang the serious profession. Yeah. that was him. Omar has such a distinctive voice that you could tell. So I've been an Omar fan for a long time. Yeah, so rest well to Patricia Routledge and her family. We wish her family well. Okay, so let's see. Now you're gonna have to bear with me because we've got a little mixing up of the things here. Is this it? Let's see. Today is a day. Yes. Okay. Here we go. All right. So the next story is survey says Drake lost. Not that a Richard Dawson Family Feud reference was needed here, but if anyone was asking, 100 people surveys asked if he lost, and he did. So Drake's Not Like Us defamation suit against Universal Music Group is dismissed. Completely dismissed. So, a United States federal judge has dismissed the lawsuit, which was brought on by Drake against Universal Music Group. First of all, raise your hand if you're surprised. Is anybody surprised? I'm really not. So, the judge was District Judge Jeanette Vargas. She dismissed the suit just yesterday and cited Lamar's diss track as a, quote, non-actionable opinion that is not considered defamatory. So this is what was said. Quote, the fact that the recording was made in the midst of a rap battle and is essential to essential to assessing its impact on a reasonable listener, right? Even apparent statements of fact may assume that the character of statements of opinion, when made in public debate, heated labor dispute, or other circumstances in which an audience may anticipate the use of epithets, fiery rhetoric, or hyperbole, meaning it's a rap battle, it's beef, that's what's going to happen, right? So you can't really, sue over this. Well, you can, as he did, but it was dismissed. So they are actually filing an appeal to this. So a spokesperson for UMG told this to Variety. From the outset, this suit was an affront to all artists and their creative expression and never should have seen the light of day, which I agree. We're pleased with the court's dismissal and look forward to continuing our work successfully promoting Drake's music and investing in his career. Okay, that's the label, UMG. But Drake's representatives are saying that they intend to appeal yesterday's ruling, and we look forward to the Court of Appeals reviewing it. I need opinions, if you will, from you all, because here's the thing. The thing that is at stake here is definitely freedom of expression when it comes to those types of things. So again, here we go with First Amendment in a sense, and I'm not an attorney, but with libel, because they're saying it's libelous, and slander, because what part of it? The fact that there was a line in the song that basically referred to him as a pedophile, the A minor, right? Part of it, that it's not whether or not it's the fact that a reasonable person would not take truth from that necessarily, because it's in the heat of a battle. This is artistic expression. And so Drake just took it to the point of like, well, I instead of saying, all right, well, you're the best when it comes to this beef thing, I am going to sue. I would never have, because this just kind of upholds the whole thing of Drake not necessarily in people's eyes being a, quote, rapper for the culture or a real rapper, right? An adept rapper. If you take your toys and go home every time somebody says something, it will be problematic, right? So let's see what people have to say. So Bryson says Kendrick Lamar keeps winning. Yeah, he won on this one too, and didn't even have to say anything, right? And at this point, why appeal? Just go quietly and do what you do. Write some more raps, provided you write them. Go ahead and keep doing things for the community. I've seen you do some of these things before. To keep rehashing this, leave it, sir, leave it. That's my thing. So G says it's a rap battle. Bro lost mad credit if he ever had any. Absolutely, it is a rap battle, and this just hurts your brand as a rapper. Unless you're trying to get out of the game in general altogether, then it doesn't really matter. But if you're still trying to maintain rapness, hip hopness, I would not have, first of all, I would not have brought this suit about. If you just keep quiet for a moment, people will forget. And then you could go ahead and write things again. It's just then that you need to buckle down and come out with something that is not about that. Stop trying to diss somebody else. Be who you are and write for you and what you think about. Again, provided you write. But no, you wanted to win by suing. And if you had won, what then? Does that give you credibility with rap fans, with hip hop fans? No, not necessarily. Mark says nothing says not true by litigating, drawing more attention to it, and keeping it in the consciousness of the distracted public. Absolutely so. 100%. 100%. Yes, and okay, I thank you for the mic. Thrift Chats podcast. Thank you. Thank you. G is not shocked at all that it is dismissed. Bryson doesn't seem to be shocked at all either. So let's see. Oh, and going back to Chef, Fred has Chef on DVD. I need to, you know what? I need to rehash some Chef. I haven't watched it in a while. Yes, David Attenborough. Definitely, definitely. Okay. Let's go on, folks. If you're just joining, I am happy to have you here. Welcome to a Friday night on MediaScope, all things media, tech, and pop culture. Here we go. We're here on Friday nights. And I didn't say hello to everybody. So hello if you're watching. I did, but let me say it properly. Hello if you're watching on Facebook. It is good to have you here. If you're watching on LinkedIn, I am ecstatic to see you. For those of you that happen to be watching on Twitch, hello Twitchers, welcome in. And if you happen to be watching on YouTube, which most people are, it is good to see you here on YouTube. And for those of you who happen to have the good fortune to live in the Caribbean and you listen to us on Thursdays at 2 p.m. on Gospel 107.1 FM, in Nassau, Bahamas, and the rest of the Caribbean, I wish you a multitude of blessings. Thank you so much. By the way, if you happen to be on YouTube or not on YouTube, I want you to do this. Would you give us a follow? Do us a solid and give us a follow. I have two channels that we're broadcasting on right now. My personal one, Dr. Tachi, and also Indie Soup Media, because I know some of you are watching via my network, Indie Soup Media. And who am I? Dr. Tachi, media professor, filmmaker, media content producer, also journalist, and the founder of Indie Soup Media. Okay, station ID is done. Let's go on to the next one. So off of Drake, and keep putting your comments about Drake in, no problem. We could keep talking about it. You know, it's you and me tonight, guys, you and me. So let's see if we can get to the next one. Byron Allen. That's actually kind of a nice jacket. Distressed, I could see what I would put with it. Anyway, you didn't ask me about that. But look at Byron Allen. Look at his face. Doesn't he look like he is serious about talking about something? Let me tell you what the man is serious about. He is trying to step into Stephen Colbert's CBS time slot. That's right. Okay, folks. So Stephen Colbert's time is up, basically, right? So if you remember, CBS canceled the Late Show with, is it the Late Show? Late Night with Stephen Colbert is Stephen Colbert, right? So they canceled Late Night with Stephen Colbert or the Late Show with Stephen Colbert, whatever it's called, citing financial things. Yeah, no, it is not. We know why, but we won't go into it. All right. So they cited financial things. And Fred, you heard me talk about this earlier on Biz Chicks. So, and feel free to chime in. So he already has his hand up, he says, for I'm in. He has a show, a show called Comics Unleashed. I've never watched it. We talked about it earlier, and if you watched it, let me know what you think of Comics Unleashed. This is Byron Allen's show. Of course, he has a media company called Allen Media Group, and this is one of the shows that they produce. That comes on CBS at 12:30. Okay, so he's putting his hand up because he would like to take this Comics Unleashed to 11:30. So when Stephen Colbert's time is up in May of next year, he's like, "Oh, I want to take that time slot." So we'll see what happens with that. But let me tell you how this could go. It's one of several ways. So, number one, the network could say, well, what we're going to do is give an extra hour to local news stations, so your local CBS affiliate, so that they can do news programming of their, local programming. To which I say, you already repeat the 11 a.m. news or the 12 p.m. news at 5, 6, and 10, and now 11. You have an extra hour to do what? Repeat it again? And this is not a dig at local news. I think no local news is wonderful. However, at least in this market, I see what you do. You over and over, you're playing the same news stories, and I'm not getting anything new. So we'll see. But that's one option, that the network could give that time back to local affiliates to play their programming. That's one. Number two, they could say, do a combination of both things and say, well, we'll give half an hour back to the local affiliates so they can do news or whatever. And then we'll give the rest of the time to Byron Allen, and if they say yes, Byron Allen, and you could, and he could start at 12 instead of 12:30, right? Number three, they could say, sure, whatever, and let him go at 11:30. I don't know whether or not that will fly, but they could have that. Number four, there is a show that they had on before, and I can't remember the name of it, but it's the Stephen Colbert came on in 1993, I believe. So there was a show that they had before Stephen Colbert came on, and they could go back to that. It was like some kind of true crime. They kind of like a Dateline on Dateline is NBC. So something like that, right? So they could go to something like that. So those are the four options they could do, right? Because the time slot, now let me also explain that Byron Allen buys his time. So he buys the airtime, and then he's responsible for going out and getting ads and commercials himself. So that's called a time buy, where you're buying the airtime. And any of us could actually do that, right? We could go to our local affiliates and say, hey, we want to buy some airtime to do XYZ. The reason most people don't do that is because it's exceedingly expensive. And when you see people who do that, because I know a few people who have done that, they're on at nothing o'clock in the morning, right before Peter Popoff comes on with the Miracle Spring Water. So that lets you know the time, because it's still expensive, but that's the cheaper time. So after prime time. So I don't even know if they would say yes to Byron Allen with that 11:30 time slot, because that's still for them prime time. So would you watch? First of all, who watches late night in here? Do any of you watch late night? And if you do, would you be interested in seeing a Comics Unleashed instead of late night? First of all, do you even watch CBS? Let me know that. Let's take some comments. Drake, just give it up already. I agree to Mark's comment. Geez, let's see. Hey, Amma is here. Hello, Dr. Harris. Welcome in. She says hello to everyone. And said, I see the shrimps wearing that. Well, thank you. Thank you. You know, I just grabbed whatever, but thank you. I'm glad it was a good choice. Thrift Champ says we need to do a collab. You know what? Get at me. I don't know if you can, and this is for anybody, but get to me on Instagram. That's the easiest way. But you could also, in my YouTube, since you are on YouTube, you could go and contact me that way, or just come to at Dr._Tachi on Instagram and get at me that way. So I wouldn't mind at all. And gee, really to what? Let me know what you're saying really to. So Mark says, attempting to seize the spot, given the reason that Colbert is being dismissed, is not a good look. And I appreciate his success, but I do not find Byron that entertaining. You know, I did not well, yes, I did realize, but I didn't know that he was a comedian for real. Now, most of us were probably very little when he was on the air. So he was on not the Tonight Show, but the Late Show. That was his debut as a comedian on air. So I guess this is coming full circle for him. I remember, do any of you remember a show? We were all probably really little, but there was a show that used to come on called Real People, and it was 3 hosts. Byron Allen was one of the hosts. I don't remember the other 2, but I remember Byron Allen because I think they used to be kind of funny. So it was like a show where they is real people. It's kind of like a pre-America's Funniest Home Videos type thing, but it wasn't people sending in their home videos. It was just funny videos, funny things. So kind of like, I don't know. But that's where I remember him from Real People. And then he became this media mogul. And I have to agree with you. It's not a good look because of what was done, because what makes you think you would not be next? Because remember, Comics Unleashed is comedy, and comedy often disguises dissent. Does that make any sense? So I've never watched the show. I don't know if they talk about politics or current events or any of that, but comedians often do. So what would stop? We won't go there, but you know what I'm going to say, right? What would stop powers that be from getting rid of him the same way they did Colbert, citing financial decision? I'm just saying we have to use a little bit of common sense, as my mother says, right? Let's see. So Thrift Champ says, hoping Colbert comes back. Listen, you know what? Let me tell you all something. We are so beholden and tied to mainstream media that and I don't know why now, but I feel, as the people say, some type of way. I feel some type of way when people I saw there are a bunch of social media people that I follow, and they're amazing. And the comments are always like, oh man, somebody needs to give this man a show. Give him a show. He has a show. He's on YouTube. It's just that we don't respect YouTube as a platform. We think it's social media, and I'm here to tell you, YouTube is it. All we had to do is look at what happened with Jimmy Kimmel and the way he was able to wrangle all the people, the cats, and as Fred likes to say, the cat daddies, or whoever. Was it you, Fred, who said cat daddy? Likes to wrangle all the folks right over there. And they had higher viewership than they did when they were on television. That speaks. That says something. YouTube, social is the wave. This is the next. It's the wave now, but it is the next wave. And I know we're getting more into what we like to call entertainment silos, where they're more niche. And there's no such thing as the mass audience anymore. There are niched audiences. So when people say, oh, give him a show, well, why? You can have a show yourself and do it there. Now, see, here's the thing. People have to get used to do you have to have millions to live? Let me shut up because I want to be a millionaire. But I'm saying, do you need to make because people act like, well, I can't do it because I'm not going to get paid X, Y, and Z. Well, how much are you expecting to make? You understand? We have to rethink these things. And this is not to say that people are not worth what they're being paid. Certainly you are. I am not going to argue with what you want to be paid, but does the market support what you want to be paid? And I'm here to tell you now, the new wave of media is not initially going to make the same money that traditional broadcast media made, because again, they make their money off of advertising. Most advertising dollars still go to television despite the successes on YouTube. That's just the way it is. So what has to happen is we all have to say to ourselves, if we're doing this thing, because all of you, we're doing this thing. A lot of us are also broadcasting. It's not only going to be from live streaming or putting up my videos that I'm going to make money. What are the other streams that I have to do? Because even actors have to do that. Because once you don't have a show anymore, you don't have anything. So what else can I do? And this is everybody. So we have to get out of the one stream of income type thing. You have a show. It's on YouTube. You have a show. It's on Substack, whatever the case may be. We just have to figure out other ways of monetizing rather than just the platform itself. I know I'm preaching tonight. Excuse me. I don't mean to preach, but I just want us to get out of that mindset. All right. So Amma says, wow, 1993. I didn't know it's been that long. Yeah, apparently so. I didn't realize either until I started doing the research. G says it's extremely repetitive. I think you're talking about the news. Yes. I'm like, is there nothing else that happened? I'll never forget the day that in Miami, was it NBC6? The breaking news was a horse had fallen into a ditch. I'm like, Miami is market number 17, and this was the breaking news that a horse fell into a ditch in Davie. The horse was okay, but I'm like, this is your breaking news? I was very disappointed. Hey, was I disappointed? Anyway, let's see. F says, I would just play MASH instead of Buns. I'm sorry. I know you probably didn't mean for it to be funny, but it is. Well, MASH, for those of us that were little then, that meant it's time to go to bed. So, hey. So, Amma says, maybe I think I would like comedy. Okay. And again, I haven't watched it to know, so I cannot make an assessment of how good it is. And comedy is subjective. I mean, and that's part of the reason why I've got a strange sense of humor, I think, which is probably why I like British comedy. So the things I think are funny, I'm looking around and nobody else is laughing, or only the people that have the same sense of humor I do are laughing. But then people are like falling over like Def Comedy Jam, rolling in the aisles for some people. And I'm like, because to me, it's not funny. So humor is very subjective, but yeah, it could work. You know what I'll have to do? I'll have to watch it. Maybe catch it online if I can and see. So G says, I watch Colbert clips on YouTube. So not watching CBS. Listen, CBS needs a shakeup. They need something. TJ called it a geriatric network earlier, and I agree. Nothing wrong with being geriatric, but that's not the next generation of TV watcher. So very nuanced. I don't even know that they could draw over Gen Z, certainly not Gen Alpha, because these people, they're watching certain television, but not CBS. Not CBS. Yes, real people. Yes. Thank you, Sarah Purcell and Skip Stevenson. Thank you. Thank you so much for that. I knew somebody knew. Let's see. So Fred also says, no, it's a pish posh of stuff, nothing serious, like watching Hollywood Squares talking about the show. Okay, well, pish posh could still be good. Pish posh, is it good? I think that's the operative thing. Mark says Comics Unleashed is very sanitized. Setup joke, setup joke for next comic joke. Wow. Huh. Okay, I'm gonna watch it and see if I can last. Okay, let's see. And Fred says the big screen is the big screen. Number one, YouTube is powerful, but number two, yeah, you're right. But you're right. It just is what it is. But it's powerful because of advertising dollars going there traditionally. If they all of a sudden said, you know what, forget this, we're going to YouTube, that would become more powerful. So what makes a platform powerful is its ability to monetize and draw in people that will bring in some revenue. That is the power there. Also, it's got history. Television has a history. That was first. Television walked so we could walk faster, because I wouldn't say we're exactly running in this field, but walk so we could walk faster, right? They set the stage. I think we all can exist together. I 100%, but people have to start to take the others more seriously. Listen, if somebody came to me and said, hey, would you like a show? I'm not going to deny it, but I already know how I am, and I'm not going to be told what to do and how I could do things and what, you know what I'm saying? And here's another thing. People are sometimes in such a hurry to get their stuff on the air that they don't secure the proper rights. So if they decide we're not doing this anymore, you no longer own your show. So be careful with IP as well. Hannah says, I feel the same way to Mark. The show is like a time capsule. So Mark asks this: is Byron willing to praise the the leader and kiss the ring? It would probably be the only way he would have a chance. Now that's interesting. That's interesting. As you know, in media, there's a lot going on, and people, we always say, politics is not involved. Politics is certainly involved. Politics is certainly involved in everything. You know the saying, I don't do politics. I can't stand politics. But I pay attention to it, and I think we all need to. So the saying is, well, you don't do politics, but politics does you, right? So for the longest time, the entertainment industry thought they could get away with being apolitical and not really looking at that. But this showed you cannot, right? You can, it is tied in everything, even if you don't want it to be, right? Let's see. Uh, I think The Neighborhood comes on CBS with Cedric. I like that show. Okay, now that shows you that I have not watched. And I think also, what is that soap opera? Does it Beyond the Gates come on CBS as well? I believe it does. That the soap opera comes on there. Let's see. All of people canceled the Paramount Plus subscriptions and Disney Plus subscriptions as well, says Bryson. Yeah, that was interesting. This is probably why Skydance Paramount wants to buy Warner Brothers. The CBS audience will be dead. I can't wait. But you're not wrong, Mark. You're not wrong. They're looking at future. I just really this is the interesting thing. The writing is on the wall, and people are still refusing to read that writing. They don't see. I can't help people who don't want help, right? I cannot. As for me in this house, we respect what came before us, but we love ourselves some digital broadcasting. I love it. All right. Wait, said show is canceled. Oh, wait, The Neighborhood is canceled? It's been a minute. I haven't kept up with what's canceled, what's renewed, what's on the bubble. So wow. All right. Well, you heard it here first. Fred said that it is canceled. Sorry, Frederick the Entertainer. And Fred says, just fill the spot with productions from the Paramount app. Rotate. See, but this is, yeah, that's true. If there's new stuff there, because what I'm tired of is this shuffling game that's happening where new stuff is being shuffled here, new stuff is being shuffled here. Can we have some sensible things? And this here's the thing. And this is what I'm talking about. People are going to have to get used to not being paid the trillions that they're typically used to getting paid, and the money is going to have to come some other way because it's really expensive to produce programming and things like this. This is why people are looking toward AI and like, oh, I can do prompt an entire show and not have to worry about actors, etc., which is why AI, etc., is so scary for Hollywood. And I understand, but don't be scared. Get on the bandwagon. Learn to prompt properly. Become a producer of such things. But there will always be a need for the humanism in this. Don't forget that. All right. Whew, okay, so we've talked about that ad nauseum. Let's go on. Hold on. Let me see if I can get this down from Fred. Let's go on to the next one. But if you just happen to be joining us, welcome in. My name is Tachi, media professor, filmmaker, media content producer, also a journalist, and this is MediaScope, all things media, tech, and pop culture. We're here at 8 p.m.-ish on Friday nights, and I'm happy to have you here with me this Friday night. We have a little bit of time left, about 12 minutes left before we go on, because I like to have you all for an hour, and I want to give you an hour full of stuff. All right. So I wanted to share this with you. I thought this was really cool. This is a local story with Telemundo. So Telemundo is based here. Telemundo is based here. It is together with NBC. So Telemundo Studios has launched Latino podcast incubator. We're talking about podcasts now with the University of Miami. So they've introduced what they're calling an industry first podcast incubator in partnership with the University of Miami. And this gives student creators access to Telemundo production resources, mentorship, and distribution platforms. I thought this was really cool. I talked about this earlier. So they say they're the first major Spanish language media company to embed student creators directly inside the content pipeline, which is cool because this gives student creators an outlet and a leg up, because we all know that, see, and I've seen this also being a professor, and you could probably attest to this too, Dr. Harris, the fact that I see students sometimes who can be at an institution for 4 years and they have not done near an internship. Well, how do you expect to get in? Nothing, right? So I like the fact that they've set this up so you can actually have some sort of podcast. I mean, and these students won't even set up like a podcast or whatever on their own. Why? The platforms for the most part are free. Why not do something? If you're actually trying to work in the industry, start or at least intern and do this. But I like that it's not just an internship, but it's allowing students to put content in the pipeline, which is cool. Let me tell you what they say. This is the Javier Pons, who is the head of Telemundo Studios. He says, this initiative reflects our commitment to bringing new formats and elevating the voices and shaping Spanish language storytelling. By collaborating with the University of Miami students, we are opening the doors for a new generation of creators to connect with audiences in authentic and relevant ways, reinforcing Telemundo's role as a leader in the media industry with robust experience in the audio space. I love it. So that's really a cool program. What I would love to see is this being done. Spanish language television is definitely a niche. And this is one, and I said this earlier, in Miami, in South Florida, we don't have a lot going on in the way of production like other markets do. So we're market number 17, I think still, for news in the nation. But we don't produce much but news in terms of big media, big high ticket media productions. We produce news, commercials, and Spanish language television. So that's basically what we produce. Every once in a while, we'll get the Bad Boys 75 and Fast and Furious 98. But other than that, because of the stupid rules we have in place and how they really didn't see the value of keeping talent here, everybody moved to Georgia because they stopped doing the tax incentives. Why would I shoot something here if you're not going to give me a break? I'll go someplace else, which is why a lot of the productions went up to Georgia. So I know some of them are bad, but for the most part, if you have a state that doesn't understand, why would you? So in any case, that's what we have here, Spanish language. But I would love to see more universities do these types of partnerships with local stations and actually have some things in the pipeline. That just shows you also are trying to draw in the next generation of content person. Aha! That's what you've got to do, right? Okay. Let's keep going because we've got about 7 minutes before I'm going to let you go, before we end, because I don't want to hold you too long. All right, let's see. Let's do this. Let's talk about the Pope. Pope Leo. So the Pope says to the media, no clickbait, please. He said basically enough with the clickbait. He said this yesterday during a conference. He was speaking at this conference in Rome held by Minds International, and that is a network of global news agencies. So he's like, enough with the clickbait, all right? Enough. He probably said it in a Chicago way, enough with the clickbait, because you know the Pope is from Chicago. He says this: communication must be freed from the misguided thinking that corrupts it, from unfair competition, and from the degrading practice of so called clickbait. I urge you, never sell out your authority. He also said, now this conference ran through today. It also focused on AI and the role of news agencies and what they're calling the post-truth world. Sheesh. That's heavy. A post-truth world. He says this also: it is a paradox that in the age of communication, news and media agencies are undergoing a period of crisis. Similarly, those who consume information are also in crisis, often mistaking the false for the truth, for the true, and the authentic for the artificial. Sheesh. And this got me. You can act as a barrier against those who, through the ancient art of lying, seek to create divisions in order to rule by dividing. You can also be a bulwark of civility against the quicksand of approximation and post-truth, said Pope Leo. So I actually like that quite a bit. I think those of us that are in the media, and I'm not just saying mainstream media, that's us too, that do the independent thing, we are responsible for actually putting truth out there, being truthful and in terms of what we know of to be true at the time. We have that responsibility. And like, I hate clickbaity stuff. I know it makes people click, but, and I'm not going to judge you if you do that. Have at it. Go on. All right. So let's take some comments. And Fred said the neighborhood will conclude with the 8th and final season, airing between 2025 and 2026, and a planned spinoff for the show was also canceled in early 2025 after its backdoor pilot aired. And Mark says this: so many of us cut the cord to free ourselves from the cable fees / imprisonment. Now all of the 500 streaming services are merging and raising prices, so they will get us all in the end somehow. Isn't that sad? That's really sad. We did, like, I knew, I was like, okay, this is too expensive, I'm cutting the cord. And so many people were doing that. But this is when you had traditional media figuring out a way to get in on this. They will never be left out of making money. You will never hear them say, well, you know, we have this, let's let other. Never in life will you hear that. They are about making money. They are not your friends. So, like you may think they are, so they won't be left out of the equation as well. But it's like media gentrification. They move in and then everything gets expensive, right? So let's see what else is there. Oh, hold on. Mark said clickbait is why I'm here. I couldn't resist the Tachi goes to the dark side headline. I didn't realize it was a lighting issue. Yeah, it's, you know what? Yes, touche. And the food place says clickbait will get you a click, but they most likely won't come back. I don't, yeah. So this is the thing. If you're going to be clickbaity, you have to have something to back it up. You need to have good content. That's why clickbait, it works to get you there, but are you going to be a long-term watcher, follower, content consumer for that creator? Not if their content doesn't live up to the expectation, right? So I like engaging titles and things. I don't like clickbaity because you have to have something to back that up, which I do. If I'm going to do something like that, we're going to talk about it. But yeah, so well said. Well said. And Fred says, there we go. The magic key is to put everything OB digital over the air broadcast. They have way more viewers. I think that's way more advertisers, you said. Okay, fantastic. You have to deliver on your promise. Yeah, definitely. And that goes also with this. You know what? Let me tell you what I can't stand. I know you don't want to hear, but I'm going to tell you what I don't like. I don't like when I see, for example, YouTubers that have these splashy intros and it's all well done. It looks like they went to a professional media company to get it done. And then your video looks like you shot with a Fisher Price camera afterwards. What type of rubbish is that? The way you start is the way I expect to see you carry on in your videos. So if you have high level production for your intros and outros because that's what you can afford, I urge you, you better dial it back or do the same thing for your actual content. And it's not that hard because good cameras are actually now more affordable. Right. So that's another thing where I can't stand. You have to deliver. I don't want to see a splashy intro like Spike Lee shot it, and then here you come in with your Fisher Price camera. Anyway, here we go. Let's. I think yeah, I think I could get one more story in, and let's decide what that's going to be because I do have a couple of more media stories, but these were the main ones. Let's get into. Do I want to do tech? So I'm going to post some of these on my socials that I don't get to so that you guys can see them. Yeah, let's do this one tech story and then I will let you go. So first we're going to do the tech intro and then we will come back with that tech story. Here we go. Okay, here we go. This is our final story. So, there is a video game that lets you return African artifacts from Western museums. As soon as I saw this, I said yes. So, there is a trailer. I'll direct you to the trailer for a game called Relooted. It's a video game called Relooted. And the question they ask is it stealing to take back what was stolen? So, this is a video game where players form a crew and plan a heist to reclaim real life African artifacts that are held in Western museums. Let's take this down. So it was created by a South African developer called Nyamakop. Nyamakop. I hope I said that properly. And the game is going to be released for PC and Xbox for those of you that are interested. So it's set in futuristic Johannesburg, South Africa. And the crew is composed of scientists and computer programmers and MMA fighters, right? Rather than seasoned criminals, right? Like a lot of games have. And it's guided by the fictitious quote, Professor Grace, a retired South African art historian frustrated by the glacial rate of restitutions. So honestly, there are hundreds of hundreds of thousands of hundred of African artifacts that are held in Western museums, and they should be returned to me as an African. I'm saying that. I know in Nigeria, there's a whole bunch of Nigerian things that are in Western museums that we need back. Okay. Never mind the whole thing of where to put them, whatever is another argument, but we need to get those back. So what has happened is as Europeans colonized Africa, they took things like, okay, the Benin bronze sculptures that in Benin, the kingdom of Benin is where modern day Nigeria is. And they were taken by force. A lot of them were looted, basically. So I love the idea that this video game is basically taking it back, right? So let's see. The precise numbers are not really there, but a 2009 report from the UN Educational, Scientific, and Cultural Organization, which is UNESCO, estimates that 90 to 95% of sub-Saharan African art is held outside of the continent. And the impact is immense. So I think something like this could actually bring attention to that. The game is going to feature 70 artifacts to steal, some of which are among the most controversial in this debate around restitution. So the artifacts are real, but these museums you're stealing from in the game are not. So I think this is interesting. Again, it's going to be available for PC and for Xbox. It is not available yet. There's not a launch date, but there is a demo that has been released on Steam. And if I'm not mistaken, Steam is like a platform, kind of like a Twitch or something like that. I'm not exactly sure. If you are on Steam, let me know. But I thought that was great. I'm like, yes, I think we need our artifacts back. And I love to see that rather than a Grand Theft Auto. That's just me. Okay, let's see what people are saying. Oh, look who is here. Shawana Kennedy is visiting us from Thailand. It is like right now, it should be, is it 8:27 a.m. in the morning in Thailand? I think you're an hour behind. So, yes, welcome from Thailand. I hope you're having a great time. And GR Houston Jack says, isn't that what Killmonger said in Black Panther? Yes. Absolutely. But now they've got the video game to do that. Mark Ward says to my comment earlier, splashy studio entry in the actual episode is found footage style from your dirty bathroom. Exactly. And Fred says, yeah, YouTubers with fancy intros are like people wearing tuxedos to job interviews, right? Or wearing a tuxedo top with shorts on the bottom, right? Like regular like Under Armour shorts on the bottom, right? Let's see. What else do we have? I think, Ron TV Metro. Speaking of Southeast Asia, our friend in the Philippines, Ron TV Metro is here. How are you, my friend? It is good to see you. And I know that it is 9:28 a.m. in the Philippines. Welcome in. All right, so that's our hour. Here we go. By the end of the hour, I'm like, I got to drink something. So this is my cue to get off air. Guys, thank you so much. I really appreciate you being here on a Friday night. I hope that you have something great planned for the rest of your Friday night, whether it's to hang out at home or go to bed, whatever you like. I hope it ends up being great, and I hope you have a great weekend. And with that, I think we are going to end this stream, and I'll end the way I always end. I love you for watching. I bid you adieu. You guys, myself, and all of this news. How about we exit stage left? And next week, hopefully all the technical glitches will be out of here. All right, guys, until next week, cheers.
Close the doors, walk across the corridor. We got something to show you. Media is our repertoire. Fed up with the same use, no channel to use. Cruise control mentalities. Here we offer you. We gon' show you on your way. The content it never stays. More positive and uplifting. Once a week, the scope gifted. Let's hear it.